Hey everyone, I'm Maya.
And I'm Ryan. And today, I want to start with a question. Have you ever known exactly what you wanted to say in English, and then the moment someone looks at you, the words completely disappeared?
Oh, Ryan, please. That is basically my first year living in the United States in one sentence.
Right? You have the vocabulary. You studied. You understand the movie without subtitles. But then someone asks you a simple question at work or in a store, and suddenly you are just frozen.
Like your brain and your mouth are no longer on speaking terms.
Exactly. And what makes it worse? Nobody around you understands why. They say, just speak. It's easy. You know English.
As if knowing English and being able to speak English are the same thing. They are not. And that is what we are exploring today.
Today's episode is called Why You Still Feel Nervous in English and How to Finally Fix It. Because this is one of the most misunderstood struggles for English learners, especially adults, especially people who already know a lot.
Yes, and we are not going to tell you to just relax or just be yourself. That advice, while well meaning, is not particularly helpful when your throat is tight and your mind has gone completely blank.
Not helpful at all. What we will do is look at why this actually happens. What is going on in your mind and body, and give you a 5-step method. We call it the speak method that you can use the next time you feel that familiar freeze.
And this is a B2 to C1 English conversation. So you will hear natural speech, stronger vocabulary, real ideas. You do not need to understand every single word. Listen for the meaning. Listen for the feeling. And if you need to, come back and listen again. That is exactly how real language learning works. Not one perfect listen, but many honest ones. Okay, let's get into it. So, Ryan, let's start with the thing nobody really explains. A person studies English for years. They read books in English, they watch American shows, they score well on tests, and then silence. Why does that happen?
This is what I call the comprehension production gap. Comprehension means understanding. Production means actually creating, speaking, or writing. These are two very different skills, even though they look related.
Comprehension production gap. So, understanding English and producing English are separate muscles?
Completely separate. Think about it this way. You may have been listening to English for years, through music, shows, classes. Your listening muscle is strong. But if you rarely spoke, your speaking muscle is still, honestly, a beginner.
That feels uncomfortable, but fair. Because I remember in my first years here, I understood almost everything in meetings at my office. But speaking up, offering an idea, asking a question, my heart would start racing before I even opened my mouth.
And that racing heart has a name. It is called anticipatory anxiety. Anticipatory, meaning it happens before the event, not during. Your body is preparing for what it believes will be a threat.
But speaking at a work meeting is not a physical threat. Nobody is going to chase me.
Correct. No lions in the conference room. But your brain, specifically a part called the amygdala, does not always know the difference between a lion and an awkward silence. It reads social rejection as danger.
Social rejection. Like being judged for your accent or making a grammar mistake in front of colleagues?
Exactly. And for people learning English in a new country, that fear is not imaginary. It comes from real experiences. Being misunderstood, being asked to repeat yourself 3 times, being interrupted because you were speaking too slowly. Those moments leave a mark.
They do, and the brain remembers them. So the next time you are about to speak, the brain says, "Hey, remember what happened last time? Maybe we should be very, very careful."
Or maybe we should say nothing at all.
Which is self-protection. But over time, it becomes a habit, and that habit has a cost.
A big one. Because the only way to build speaking confidence is to speak. And if you avoid speaking, you are essentially telling your brain, this is too dangerous. Stay silent.
So the avoidance actually makes the anxiety worse.
Yes. This is called the anxiety avoidance loop. You feel anxious, so you avoid. Because you avoided, you have no positive experience to draw from. So next time, you feel even more anxious. The loop continues.
That is a very uncomfortable loop to be trapped in.
It is. But here is the important thing. It is breakable. And it does not require you to suddenly become fearless. You do not need to eliminate the anxiety. You need to interrupt the loop. Just once. And then once more. And again.
So confidence is not the absence of anxiety. It is taking one small action while the anxiety is still there.
Beautifully put. Confidence is not, I am not afraid. It is, I moved anyway.
Ryan, I want to talk about something specific because speaking anxiety does not look the same for everyone. And I think a lot of people do not even recognize it in themselves.
That is true. It can be very subtle. What do you mean?
Well, some people become very quiet. They withdraw. They stop contributing in group situations because it feels safer to listen. And from the outside, people might just think they are shy or reserved.
But internally, it is not shyness. It is a calculated survival strategy. Stay invisible. Do not risk the embarrassment.
And then there is the over-preparer. This person rehearses every sentence before they say it. They translate from their first language in their head, check the grammar, adjust the vocabulary, and by the time they are ready, the conversation has moved on.
I know that person well. I used to be that person. And the exhaustion is real because you are doing triple the mental work of everyone else in the room.
Triple at minimum. And there is another type, the apologizer. They start every sentence with, "Sorry, this might be wrong," or "I'm not sure if this makes sense," or "Excuse me for my English."
Which is often a way of pre-managing rejection. If I apologize first, maybe the judgment will be softer.
But the problem is, it also signals to the listener that you are not confident in what you are saying. And people respond to that signal. They may start to question your ideas even before you finish expressing them.
So the apology, which is meant to protect you, can actually undermine you.
Yes, language shapes perception. And we will talk more about that in the speak method. But first, I want to name something important. None of these patterns mean you are weak. They mean you are human. They are adaptive responses to a genuinely challenging situation.
Learning to live, work, and communicate in a second language as an adult is one of the most cognitively demanding things a person can do. It deserves respect, not shame.
It does. And I think what gives people the most strength is not being told to just be confident, but understanding what is actually happening. Because when you understand the mechanism, you can work with it.
Knowledge as power. Or more accurately, knowledge as the beginning of a better strategy.
So let's talk about one more psychological concept before we get to the method, and that is the inner critic.
Ah, everyone's favorite uninvited passenger.
The inner critic is that internal voice that narrates your mistakes in real time. You say a sentence and it immediately says, that was wrong. You pause too long, they noticed your accent. They are thinking you do not really belong here.
And it is relentless. It does not wait until the conversation is over. It runs a live commentary while you are still trying to speak.
Which splits your attention. You are trying to communicate and simultaneously dealing with a hostile narrator inside your own head.
The technical term for this is cognitive load. Your brain has limited processing capacity. When anxiety and self-criticism are using a large portion of that capacity, less is available for the actual task, which is speaking.
So it is not that you forgot the words. It is that your available mental bandwidth was occupied by fear and criticism.
Exactly. And this is why people who speak a second language fluently in relaxed, safe environments, with close friends, at home, can suddenly struggle in formal or high-pressure situations. The environment changed the cognitive load.
That is such a relief to understand. It is not inconsistency or weakness. It is neuroscience.
Neuroscience. And knowing that, we can approach the solution much more thoughtfully.
All right, Ryan, the moment our listeners have been waiting for, the speak method. 5 steps for building real speaking confidence in English.
Let's go through them one by one. The first step, S, is start small on purpose.
Start small on purpose. What does that look like?
It means deliberately creating low-stakes speaking situations every single day. Not waiting for a big opportunity. Not waiting until you feel ready. Finding the smallest possible English conversation and doing it. Ordering coffee. Asking a stranger what time it is. Leaving a voice note for a friend in English. Talking to yourself while cooking dinner.
Talking to yourself. I did this so much my first year here. I would narrate my day in English while doing dishes. This is a plate. I am washing the plate. The water is warm. It sounds ridiculous, but it worked.
It is not ridiculous at all. It is called output practice, and it builds fluency without any social risk. Your dishes are not judging you.
They are very accepting. Okay, step 2, P, is what?
P is prepare a phrase bank, not a script. There is a big difference. A script is a full sentence you memorize. A phrase bank is a collection of flexible expressions that help you navigate uncertainty.
Can you give examples?
Absolutely. Things like, that's an interesting point. What I'd add is, or let me think about that for a second. Or, if I understand correctly, you're saying, these phrases buy you time, show engagement, and keep the conversation moving without requiring you to have a perfect answer ready.
Those are so useful because a lot of anxiety comes from not knowing what to say when you are caught off guard. Having a phrase bank gives you a safety net.
Exactly. And over time, these phrases become automatic. You stop thinking about them, and they just appear when you need them.
Step 3, E.
E is edit your self-talk. This is about the inner critic. You cannot always silence it, but you can change what it says. Instead of, I made a mistake, and now they think less of me, try, I am still learning, and that was one sentence in a lifetime of conversations.
One sentence in a lifetime of conversations. I love that framing. It makes the stakes feel accurate instead of catastrophic.
Because the stakes usually are not catastrophic. We inflate them. A small stumble in English does not define your intelligence, your work ethic, or your value as a person.
But the inner critic does not know that, so we have to tell it, deliberately and repeatedly.
Yes. And another powerful edit. Stop saying, I can't speak English. Start saying, I am building my spoken English. One is a verdict. The other is a process.
Exactly. Like changing I'm not confident to I'm not confident yet. Small words, big shift. Step 4.
A. Anchor yourself in the body first. Before you speak, especially in high-pressure moments, bring your attention to your body. Take one slow breath. Put both feet flat on the floor. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. These are physiological reset signals.
Physiological, meaning physical, related to the body's processes.
Right, because anxiety is not just a mental event, it is a physical one. Your heart rate goes up, your muscles tighten, your breath becomes shallow. These physical sensations then feed the mental panic. I can feel my heart racing. Something must be wrong.
So the anchor interrupts that feedback loop.
It tells your nervous system, this moment is not a crisis. We are okay. And from that calmer state, your vocabulary becomes more accessible. Your thinking is clearer.
So the body helps the mind, not the other way around. Step 5, K.
K is keep score of progress, not perfection. Every day, notice what you did, not what you failed to do. Did you speak up in a meeting today, even if only once? Write it down. Did you have a conversation in English without switching languages? Acknowledge it. Did you try a new word? That counts.
This is evidence building. Just like we talked about with confidence, the brain needs proof. And if we only ever collect evidence of our failures, of course we will believe we are failing.
But when you consciously collect evidence of progress, even small progress, you are retraining your brain. You are showing it, I am moving forward. I can do this. I have done it before.
And progress is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is simply, today I did not apologize before asking a question. That is enough. That is real.
That is more than enough. That is growth. So to recap, the speak method. S, start small on purpose. P, prepare a phrase bank. E, edit your self-talk. A, anchor in the body. K, keep score of progress.
5 steps. Practical. Honest. Something you can start today, not when you feel ready.
And now it is time for our word tour, where we slow down and revisit some of the powerful words we used in today's conversation. These are B2 to C1 level words you can use in your own daily English.
First word, anticipatory. Anticipatory means relating to or happening in advance of a future event. You can say, he felt anticipatory anxiety before every presentation, even though he always performed well. Or, her anticipatory excitement made it difficult to sleep the night before the trip.
Let's repeat it. Anticipatory. Anticipatory.
Next word, cognitive load. This is a phrase. Cognitive load refers to the mental effort being used at any given moment. You can say, switching between 2 languages increases cognitive load significantly. Or, good teachers design lessons that reduce cognitive load so students can focus on understanding.
Cognitive load. Cognitive load.
Next, amygdala.
The amygdala is a part of the brain responsible for processing emotions, especially fear. You can say, the amygdala reacts to perceived threats even when the danger is not physical. Or, understanding how the amygdala works helped her manage her anxiety more effectively.
Amygdala. Amygdala. Next word, bandwidth. In the context of the mind, bandwidth means available mental or emotional capacity. You can say, after a long day of meetings, he had very little mentee bandwidth for creative thinking. Or, speaking a second language in a stressful environment uses a lot of cognitive bandwidth.
Bandwidth. Bandwidth. Next, output. In language learning, output means language you produce, speaking or writing, as opposed to input, which is language you receive through listening or reading. You can say, to improve speaking, you need more output practice, not just listening. Or, journaling in English is a simple and effective form of written output.
Next word, adaptive. Adaptive means able to adjust to new conditions or developed as a useful response to a situation. You can say, avoidance is an adaptive behavior. It reduces discomfort in the short term, but it has long-term costs. Or, humans are remarkably adaptive when faced with unfamiliar environments.
Adaptive. Adaptive. Next, physiological. Physiological relates to the physical and biological processes of the body. You can say, her physiological response to stress included a faster heart rate and tense muscles. Or, deep breathing has measurable physiological benefits for calming anxiety.
Physiological. Physiological.
And finally, deliberate. Deliberate, used as an adjective, means done intentionally and carefully, with full awareness and purpose. You can say, building fluency requires deliberate practice, not just passive exposure. Or, she made a deliberate effort to speak up at least once in every meeting.
Deliberate. Deliberate. Those are your words for today. Practice them, use them, make them yours.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Let's leave you with this. Speaking anxiety in English is not a personal flaw. It is a predictable response to a genuinely hard challenge.
And it is workable. Not overnight, but step by step. Small action by small action. One honest conversation at a time.
If today's episode gave you something, a word, a strategy, or even just the feeling of being understood, please share it with one person who needs it.